Welcome to Unity of Charlotte, our second service in our new home, and I'm very excited to see everyone here. I'm Reverend Lisa Herclaws. I'm co-minister with Reverend Jim Ernstsen, and we are delighted to welcome you to our new sanctuary. If you're on Zoom watching, we welcome you also, or if you happen to be watching us on YouTube, we're glad you decided to stop by and hear our Sunday message. At Unity of Charlotte, so I have to say we don't have slides yet, but we have made much progress in the right direction. There's one little light we have to take care of, but it's way the heck up there. So we're working on it. Hopefully next Sunday we'll have it. So we will walk you through those things where we're used to having a slide available for you to read. Our mission, why don't we say our mission statement the way we did it last time? It'll be a call and response. So I will say the first sentence and then let you repeat it, and we'll work through it that way. Unity of Charlotte is the place where we nurture a deep and mature experience of God. Unity of Charlotte is the place where we nurture a deep and mature experience of God. To the practice of unity principles. To the practice of unity principles. Simply put, we are here to love, grow, and serve. Simply put, we are here to love. Indeed. Is there anyone here for the first time? Welcome. Nice to have you here. Did I miss anyone over here? Or is Marguerite's first time here? We know her about it. Welcome. You know, a warm and also because this is kind of new for all of us, so I'm glad to have you here. Our greeters have visitor packets. If you did not get one, we'll have a greeter come and give that to you. There's some information about Unity in there. Sometimes you get people who know Unity quite well, and you may just want to know more about Unity of Charlotte. So our contact information is there also. So we're delighted to see you here. Welcome. We're also available, there's information you can get regarding Unity of Charlotte several different ways. We have a website, a newsletter. You can sign up for the newsletter on the website or fill out the visitor form and request to be added. We have a Facebook page that is now being updated, and we have a YouTube channel where you can go and watch any of our previous Sunday services. We will have, by next Sunday, a bulletin board. We just got the okay to put that up. We'll be just down the hall between the admin office and minister's office, and that will have all the events that are going on, which we're going to talk about some of this today. Turn your focus within, moving from our heads to our hearts. We open together in this prayerful, sacred moment, calling upon and claiming the active presence of Spirit in our lives and in this community and in this world. We are here for a deeper connection to that God mind, that Spirit, that presence of consciousness, where we stand in the absolute certainty that we are a whole, perfect expression of God. And that expression lives and moves and has its being through us and as us. This brings a harmony within us, a harmony to our relationships, and a harmony we bring to the world. That is our practice. That is our dedication. And we are so grateful to have these principles guiding us and leading us to this becoming our reality in each and every moment. May we feel the peace that reigns now. And may we see that peace in our community and out in our world. As we say thank you, thank you, thank you. So it is. Amen. I now would like to have you join as we speak the unity prayer of oneness. I know many of you know it, but let me, for those who don't, I will once again I'll say the sentence and have you repeat. There is one presence and one power.
There is one presence
In my life and universe.
in
God, the good, omnipotence.
God, the good.
We claim and affirm this presence in our lives as love. Please. Thank you, that's actually very nice. We just added that on. No worries. And now I'm going to open up a space for silence and an opportunity for you to speak aloud, anyone you want to uplift in prayer, or a situation you want to uplift in prayer, as we bring it into this holy place. So you may speak that name now. Flows in faith, knowing Spirit is already working in and through each of these situations and individuals and in our lives to bring about the very best outcome and the good that is promised us as the expression of God is. So it is. I want you to know that we have a prayer team. Our prayer team can receive your prayer requests. We have a prayer box right outside the door on the table. There are forms you can fill out. These requests, written requests, go to our prayer team lead, who sends them out to our prayer team, where they hold it in prayer for 14 days. And after 14 days, they send these prayer requests to Unity Silent Community. And they hold that in prayer for another 30 days. All of these prayer requests are held in the strictest confidence. So please, if you have a prayer request, you can also go on our website and fill a form out electronically, and that will go straight to our prayer. And now I want to invite up Sean and Maria to read our daily word.
Buenos días. La palabra de hoy es prosperidad. Prosperity. Vivo una vida abundante. A menudo se ha dicho, no puedes llevártelo contigo, ya que debo dejar atrás el dinero y las posesiones materiales cuando trascienda esta vida. Estas cosas no son la fuente de mi prosperidad. Mi verdadera riqueza reside en mi conciencia, en mi capacidad de dar y recibir amor, de compartir lo que tengo, de recibir de los demás con alegría, de comprender y utilizar el poder creativo, del pensamiento y de conocerme a mí mismo y todas las personas como expresión viva de Dios. Vivo consciente y abundantemente. Hago un uso sabio de los recursos de la tierra y recurro al tesoro ilimitado de las ideas divinas. A través del poder de Dios en mí enriquezo mi vida física, emocional y espiritualmente. Por el contrario, acumulen tesoros en el cielo, donde ni la polilla ni el óxido corroen, y donde los ladrones no minan ni hurtan. Mateo 6:20.
Prosperity. I live an abundant life. It often has been said, you can't take it with you. While it is true that money and material possessions must be left behind when I transition from this life, these things are not the source of my prosperity. My true wealth lies in my consciousness, my ability to give and receive love, to share what I have and receive from others. to understand and use the creative power of thought, and to know myself and all people as living expressions of God. I live consciously, abundantly, making wise use of Earth's resources and drawing upon the limitless storehouse of my ideas. Through the power of God within me, I enrich my life physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. But store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust consumes, and where thieves do not break in and steal. Matthew chapter 6, verse 1.
I started feeling something different. And you tell me if maybe you experienced this as well. Something in my heart, I wasn't quite sure what that was at first. Was I feeling joy? Because I actually noticed myself smiling a bit. Was that happiness? Because I laughed just a little bit more than I normally do during the week. I sat with that feeling, trying to notice it, trying to understand it, trying to use language to describe what that was. Because we all know that our language, this English language, is a bit limiting at times. I still didn't know. I know that last week, Reverend Lisa spoke of the concept of sacred space. We've got prayer flags over there to bless this sacred space that we have the chance of meeting in on Sundays. And I knew it had something to do with this newness, this space that we've come to know, or getting to know at least. I was feeling something positive with this experience at St. Luke's. I knew that was the nugget of it, at least. I was having encouraging conversations with those folks that I love and I respect. And I felt like they were thinking the same thing along with me. Some of the stressful issues that we were dealing with in terms of moving, the move and some folks' reaction to the move that was feeling a little stressful for some folks, and I acknowledge that as well. But that we were coming together. I knew that we were coming together ultimately in what I would call, pardon me, divine order. So all these things going on, all these feelings happening, divine order was at the bottom of it. It was moving in the direction of goodness. That's what I understood. The words started to come together for me. I was feeling, these were the things I wrote down this week. I was feeling lighter. That's one of the words. Hopeful. Brighter was another word. The love. And ultimately, it was, but it wasn't quite. The word good kept coming back to me as well. And maybe it was more of a phrase because I felt like everything was going to work out for the best. And that's what I settled on. Everything is going to work out for the best. Until I realized that, boom, the word that I was looking for, the word that I felt, the word that I knew was optimism. I was feeling optimism. And I missed that feeling. It took me a while to greet you again, my friend. Optimism. I instinctively knew that that is where I wanted to stay. I intuitively knew that I wanted you to join me there. Each one of you to join me in that optimism. And that's the title of my message today, is shared optimism. We can come together in that shared optimism, and that's where we live. That's where we have our being. That's who we are. I love that. I settled on that. What is, and I guess I ask everyone to sit with us and think about this. What is the dictionary definition of an optimist? What is an optimist? Think about that for a second. I looked it up. I Googled it. Not about it. So I Googled it, right? I Googled optimist, and it is someone who is hopeful and confident in the future. That made sense. Someone who is hopeful and confident in the future. I kind of wondered what was the confidence there, but we'll get to that. Or maybe we'll talk about it now. The confidence in the future, I believe, for an optimist, is that everything's going to work out for the good, right? As opposed to a pessimist, right? What does the pessimist think? Everything's going to get screwed up, right? If it's going to go wrong, it's going to happen to me, or it's going to happen. But the optimist is thinking it's going to be good. It's going to absolutely be good. So today we're going to explore this as well. Charles Fillmore, along with his wife, co-founders of the Unity Movement, he wrote within Revealing Word that optimism is the practice of seeing God. See that a little bit different? Optimism is, what is it, practice? Yes, it's the practice of seeing God everywhere. We just talked about good, expecting good. The cool part is within Unity, those are synonyms. God and good can be the same thing. It is the same thing. God is good all the time. So I love that. Optimism is the practice of seeing God or good everywhere. And this makes sense. This makes total sense to me. Today we're going to explore two different things of this idea of shared optimism. We're going to talk about optimism as our awareness of our oneness, because we have a oneness within this universe that we talk about within Unity, and also our coexistence. So we're going to talk about those two things today. So let's start with that awareness of our oneness, all things. Do we see, ask yourself this question, do you see, I'm going to say, do we see the presence of God in all things? Presence of God in all things. I'm going to speak for myself. As you answer this question for yourself, I'm going to say, I'm not going to pretend that I see it all the time, because I have. So take a step back. But that presence of God in all things, most of the time, yes, absolutely. The presence of God that lets me believe that the universe conspires in my favor. That's how I like it. The universe, and you can place any word that you want for that. The universe conspires in my favor. God conspires in my favor. Divine conspires in my favor. Spaghetti monster conspires in my favor. All these things are true. During the ups and downs, during everything that happens in our lives, God is there, and the universe conspires in my favor. As a spiritual being, I want to look at the long term of this idea of shared optimism. The long term of it, not just what's happening at any given second. Because we all know the ups and downs. We all know the step back that we take. I was leaving here yesterday. I was the last one here as we were working on things. I put things back together, turned the lights off, locked the door, and I was taking some stuff out to the trash yesterday. And of course, my mind is, okay, what are the next 10 things that I want to do before I get home, right? My list of things to do. And I turned and I stepped into, and be careful, back in the trash can, there is a hole. I stepped into it and twisted my ankle, and I went down. I went down hard. I scraped it up, and my chin hit the ground. I mean, it was one of those times. And it was immediately my mind went to, uh-oh. And I'm thinking of my ankle. Uh-oh. You know, that's gonna hurt. That's gonna be something. I rolled over and I thought, no, I don't need to go there. I don't need to go there. What if I just regrouped for a second? And I've seen some nods from you guys out there. What if I just regrouped for a second? No, that everything was going to be okay. I don't have to live with that, because in those 2 or 3 seconds, I'm thinking, oh, crap, I have to have ice and have do I have crutches? In 5 seconds. I rolled over, kind of dusted myself off, and it's like, it's going to be all right. You know what? It's going to be okay. I stood up, I mean, tested it out, and it felt tight. I knew it's like, okay. But that's where I went. And yes, there's still a little tightness in that ankle today, but you see, I'm okay. Everything worked out. It's good. It's absolutely good. This is the spiritual being that I'm talking about, where I go to spiritual principles instead of the uh-oh moment that I have as well. Martin Luther King talks about this idea of seeing things not in the immediacy of it, but of the long term, right? Martin Luther King talked about that. The arc of the universe being wrong. I mean, he was talking about justice, the arc of the universe being wrong, and sooner or later justice will come about to all of these things that we're working on in our world. And I love that idea, because we do experience the ups and downs, but overall, that over the long term, it's going to be good. The arc of the universe is long, and here's my reinterpretation. The arc of the universe is long, but it bends towards goodness. And that is where I want to live. To where I don't deny my human condition, which means I trip out of the trash can out there. And again, my human condition, I'm laying on the ground and I look around. Did anybody see me? That's like, man, that was embarrassing. That's my human condition. But the long term of it, I know that I'm an eternal being, and that's where my goodness is. That's where I want to be. And I can see that. Shifting gears just a little bit also. In our oneness, so we are talking about our oneness, our awareness of our oneness in this process of optimism. This oneness that we are blessed with also includes the choices that we have in this world, right? We don't believe in fate. We don't believe that things just happen to us. There is a choice that we make minute by minute, not to overwhelm anyone, but we make a lot of choices right now. We make a lot of choices. And that's the good part. The good part is that And we used to call this, within the church of my youth, we used to call this free agency. As humans, God gave us free agency. For the people that fellowship. Meaning that I could choose whichever way I wanted it, right? But and so we know with that choice, if we turn right, there is a circumstance, there is something that happens. If we turn left, something else will happen. We understand, and that is the responsibility of choice. So we have the blessing of that, but we have the responsibility of that choice. So what I want to propose here is that our choices that we make, the left, the right, what I'm going to think, those choices, I have a choice of being optimistic or pessimistic at any given fork in the road. That's what I want us to hear. Yes, we have free agency. Yes, we have choice. But do we utilize that in terms of what we think of when something approaches us? Optimistic? Yeah, most of the time. Pessimistic? Yeah, sometimes. But maybe we can let that be a smaller and smaller percentage of our lives as well. Do I choose to live in a pessimistic life? Or one where the go-to experience is optimism? What is your go-to? What is your go-to experience in this life? Because optimism is a blessing in our awareness of this universe. And that's what we're saying. We are one. We can be one with each other in that shared optimism. One where we are unlikely to be swayed by the temporary setbacks of our lives. Again, we are not denying. But listen to me, the temporary setbacks of our lives. We're not denying, we know, acknowledge them, we see them, we know that we live them, and maybe we live them for 5 seconds out of the trash can. That's the temporary setback. But there is a long arc to our goodness and our optimism that I think we can live in. And I choose to live there. Our affirmation, I also sat down this week. What is the affirmation I want to take? The affirmations for you that don't know, or maybe this is just a reminder for some of them. Those are the statements that I know to be true, but I'm using as a reminder of the truth in my life. So I created this affirmation, and I tell myself this throughout during my day, throughout my week. This affirmation that I use, and I invite you to take it with you this coming week as well. As I live in optimism, I find joy. Nice, simple, but oh so true. As I live in optimism, I find joy. The second thing I want to talk about is that optimism that is a shared part of our lives. And ask yourself that question. Is optimism, is this life a shared experience? Let me put it that way. Let me broaden the question. Is this life a shared experience? What do you think? Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yes. Without a doubt. Exclamation point. We live in this existence, in this world, as a shared experience. Absolutely. Coexistence is the rule of thumb for where we are. So don't you want to join with people who are optimistic and loving and joy-filled? Yeah, I do. I do. Spiritual consciousness that can be made, that can be manifested as thought, is that shared experience. So we talk about on Sunday, that's what we share with each other. Email us and we'll join you there. Give us a call on the church number, we'll call you back. That's the shared experience. Text each other. That's the experience that we share in as well. Knowing that the whole of creation is sacred as well, not just us, because we come together because we are. The phrase I hear most often is, I love coming to Unity because of like-minded folks that I get to talk to, share a cup of coffee with, attend a class, read a chapter in the book and discuss it. That shared experience is where we are. But it's a spiritual sharing as instead of more physical, I guess. We're not simply here to play pickleball, right? Nothing wrong with pickleball. Nothing wrong with pickleball. All of God's creations are spiritual. They live. So we're talking about not just the people, we're talking about the earth, we're talking about the environment, we're talking about the rocks and trees. We're talking about everything of God's creation is spiritual. They live in an atmosphere of love. As humans, hopefully, we go beyond exploitation of our world into one of love and as well of coexistence as well. I'm grateful for the opportunity in that to share my optimism. Again, my affirmation, as I live in optimism, find joy. I find joy. You see how I phrase it? It's like, maybe I'll find joy. I find joy. You can tell yourself that. I find joy. So, wrapping up here. When we live in that shared optimism, well, let's rephrase it. Why do we live? Why do we want to live in that shared optimism?
Feels good.
Because it is. Doesn't feel good. Absolutely. I jotted down a few things. See if it speaks to your heart, these things that I wrote down during this week. Living in that shared optimism. What is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 5 things here. I'm just going to go through them and see if it speaks to you. It strengthens me. Rather than giving up. So there are times in my life where it's like, the heck with this, I want to walk away from it, right? Optimism, if I'm in that shared optimism, I know that I can get through that. It strengthens us to try rather than to give up. The second one, it allows us to dream and confidently make goals. If you have optimism, you can dream and make goals because you know you're headed in the right direction. The universe is conspiring for those dreams. Those dreams are going to fulfill themselves. Number 3, it gives us the room to play. This is not a struggle. It doesn't have to be a constant struggle in our lives. Take a break. Have fun. Play. 4th one, it keeps us moving forward in motivation. Optimism keeps you moving. Does it for you as well? No. Then the last thing I wrote down. It keeps us tapped into that state of, that high state of self-esteem. I believe in myself. When I'm optimistic, I believe in myself. I believe that slideshow will work out in the future. As I take a breath. I am optimistic. But it helps me maintain that self-esteem that I know things are going to be okay. When we live in that shared optimism, we feel the flow, don't we? We know that we're moving. We're not mired in the mud. We're not stuck. we feel the flow, we feel things coming to us, we utilize that positive, and we can step forward as well. So what is the practical? This was all felt a little theoretical to me here. What is the practical thing that we can take with us along with that affirmation this week? The practical item that I want us to take with us this week is the taking responsibility for being optimistic is often responsible. Again, this goes back to the choices that we make. Practically, I make that choice. And I'm speaking for me. Practically, I make that choice and I want it to be an optimist. I take that responsibility. That's the practical nature of what I'm going to do this week. I invite you, I'm going to do it for me, and I hope that you'll join me there. Because again, shared optimism is what we're all about. And this last little nugget here, optimism is contagious. Don't wear a mask. We don't have to wear masks, but it's contagious in the good way, right? Optimism is contagious. Pessimism is contagious. Which direction do we want to go? Optimism is contagious. So join me in that contagion, if that's the right word I want to use here today, with that smile, that laughter, with that shared optimism. Know that I like you, I bless you, I appreciate each and every one of you as you join that shared optimism. I hope let's go ahead and direct to fish. I invite you to wiggle around like the Zen Buddhist who taught me meditation. Wiggle around and release the energy. Let your shoulders come down. Find a place for your hands, maybe on your knees, or hold it in your lap. Feet on the ground as you anchor yourself in the energy of this world in which we live in. Close your eyes if that feels right. And breathe. Use that breath to anchor ourselves. Use that breath to focus. So as you breathe in, as you exhale, notice that ever in your body, sense for you, we're all a little bit different. It's your belly, it's your chest, feeling the breath at your nose, at your nostrils, wherever. We have another song to play from Claire. All the way from Minnesota. This is a song that she picked out for us. I give her a theme, she picks out songs, and we negotiate the type of songs that she plays, sings for us. And I found it very interesting. She picked out a Willie Nelson song. Willie Nelson wrote this. I have never heard it until I heard Claire Vandenbroek sing it. It's called, and then what surprised me because of the lyrics. I just don't think of Willie Nelson singing energy follows thought. Imagine what you want and get away. Remember energy follows thoughts. So be careful what you say. Careful what you ask for. Make sure it's what you really want. 'Cause your mind is made. Energy follows thought. Your mind is in control even when you do not know.
So if you let I let's go tell it where to go. Wherever you are sleeping and your dreams take you, go on with your dream. Listen to what you say. If you hear spirit talking, well, that wisdom can't be bought. Fly into dream. Energy follows thought. Your mind is in control even when you do not know. If you let there's no telling where it will go. So imagine what you want, then get out of the way. Remember, energy follows thought. Be careful what you say. Remember, energy follows thought. Be careful what you say. Careful what you say. Careful what you say.
Thank you, Claire Von der Carler and Willie Nelson, Reverend Jim, for our very optimistic message today. Now is the time that we move into our offertory time, and we know that abundance and prosperity that was so beautifully read in our daily word is all about circulation. So every gift we give moves out into the universe and supports this community and our brighter community, and eventually comes back to support ourselves. So please join me in hold your offering, your giving. If you give online, just put your hands together and see that offering in your mind as we join in the offertory blessing. Again, I will say the words and have you repeat. Joyously I give this gift.
Joyously I give this gift.
Knowing the divine presence
Knowing
blesses and multiplies all that I am,
blessings and multiplies
all that I have,
all
all that I give, and all that I receive.
Thank you, God.
The light of God surrounds me. The love of God enfolds me. The power of God protects me. The presence of God watches over me. Wherever we are, God is and all is well.